the link for it too, so I can I'm gonna put you on.
Cool. All right, guys. This is a brother who needs absolutely no. He really needs no introduction, man. Been my brother for about 5 years strong, man.
Yes, sir.
One of my better friends, somebody I'm always talking to. He actually gave me like my first like real like Foots interview,
Oh man,
and
that was a classic one too.
that was dope, man. Because like one thing about Akoye, he does homework on everything he does. Okay, Mita, how you doing, buddy?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah. How you doing,
Yeah,
man? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm sharing the link, so just give me 1 second. I'm sharing it to
Okay,
Twitter
yeah.
so I can get some people in here. My bad if I
Oh no,
froze on
for
you.
sure.
Yeah,
I
all right, here we
actually
go.
just oh yeah, they
All right.
filtering in. So
Yep,
while
I
he
just
does
shared
that,
it too. I'm done. I'm done.
yeah. So while he does that, y'all, this is my mobile setup because got the Airbnb vibes in the back because I'm actually out of town for nationals, but this is a big week,
Yeah.
and I wanted to bring in somebody who I know not only watches the film but dissects the film, and
Gotcha.
we watched the all 22. I know we probably all watched the San Fran game, but there were a lot of things that I saw on film, me personally, that I say that I picked up on. And Akoye, we were talking pre show, and I just want to jump right into it, man. I see a lot of tendencies,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the reason why the Cowboys are favored is because one, Vegas, these the wise guys. So
They know what's up.
they they know what's up. So if it's at home, that means neutral field, you probably favored even by more. But anyway, so I've seen Philly kind of sputter.
Right.
Early on, I knew the defense was bad when they allowed Mac Jones to give up 300 yards. And, they're going to overtime or basically tight games with Washington in both games.
Right.
So we knew the defense was bad. We kind of knew that this summer, right, Akoye?
Right. Right.
What we're now seeing is, I won't say that the O line is struggling, but we're now seeing that the scheme is caught up. It's kind of caught up, and we see teams kind of catching on. Do you see that, Akoye?
100%, and it's a mixture of a few things. Like a lot of people think it's Johnson, the offensive coordinator, but
Yeah.
it's a combination of a lot of things. Like really, we as Cowboy fans have a very in depth experience of this because
Right.
remember Dak's first year he was all worldly, almost an MVP, going
Mm.
crazy, right? But the film catches up to us all, and I say this to everybody. So when I take a evaluation of Hurts. A lot of people take it as hate because I happen to be a Cowboys fan, but it's no hate. I actually like the kid, right?
Right.
The young man. I don't want to say kid because he's a grown man just like I am, right? But
Right.
I actually like Hurts. But I can't give Hurts a fair evaluation till I see how he deals with the film, encountering his own film, and sort of evaluating himself. Because you have to evolve each year because the tape will catch up to what your tendencies were your initial year. And I think that's a little bit of what you see now because Johnson was here last year. The playbook is
Right.
pretty much the same when you look at the plays. It's just maybe he calls different plays in different situations, but the playbook's the same. The
Right.
problem is the things that worked for you yesterday don't necessarily work today. And now you have to counter yourself. So you have to be scouting yourself in this league. I think quarterbacks of yesteryear understood this. Peyton Manning would evolve each year. He would do things like jump on the defensive side of the ball just to see how's the defensive end looking at me. What do I even look like back here right now? What are they seeing? You know what I mean? How's this? He'll go line up at corner for real, just to, in
Yeah.
training camp, just to see how is a cornerback looking at me in this set. What do I look like? So he wanted to get a full understanding of the offense from the defensive side of the ball and so on. And you have to be that maniacal in order to stay ahead of the curve in this league. And if you're just relying on athleticism, I don't care if you're Michael Vick. It does not work. Randall Cunningham and Michael Vick were athletic quarterbacks before there were other athletic quarterbacks. So if anybody had an advantage, it was them. The
Yeah.
game was slower and they were super fast in comparison
Yeah.
to everybody around them. And their athleticism still wasn't enough to stay ahead of the film because
Yeah.
tendencies come for us all. And I think what you see right now is not the offense sputtering. You're seeing a team that doesn't have a counter for itself. They don't have a counter for the things that are being taken away. And to his credit, Dak didn't either in his second year. We saw, that's where I even came from. The Dez issue
Yeah.
came from the fact that we weren't able to counter ourselves at that time. And then even beyond that, you have other things that you have to learn, right? And
Yeah.
I think Hurts is in that process of maturation. I think a quarterback that's an athlete takes anywhere from 4 to 5 years to really develop as opposed to a pocket passer because they have the ability to run and extend plays, which makes it even longer a learning curve for them to actually get through progressions, look safeties off, and do things that are within the 2.3 or within the play call itself,
Yeah.
not just a scramble drill. And I think that's what you see with Hurts right now. But I mean, the offense itself is just like I said. Keep the lid off. He likes to read deep to short, so you keep the lid on. Should I say not off? But keep the lid on. Don't let them get the big play and make them work methodically up the field and hope that if you they can't execute as many times as need be in order to get there. So it's sort of bend but don't break. That's the approach that you take with them. And we set that blueprint for everyone because if you notice, AJ Brown was on a tear until he met
And
us.
he,
Even
and
though
he
we didn't
hasn't.
like the playing off and we didn't you're playing too far off and keeping everything in front of you, we didn't like it. But that's what everybody's doing against them now. You might see
Yeah,
some
and,
more
and he
press
slowed
man
down.
in there. Yeah. And
And he
he
slowed down. I
yeah.
want to, before we get into the film, because man, Akoye, and first off, I don't know if Tua said, can everybody hear us? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear us. It sounds like everybody can, but I don't know if Tua can hear us. Shout out to Aisha Morrison. She's
Tua,
doing great things
what's up? Can
on
y'all hear me?
DallasCowboys.com. Yeah, make sure y'all can hear us because this
I'm
is a
turning the
banger.
mic up. I should be higher
And
now. There we go.
and
That might
Akoye
be
got some
that might be
heat
better.
for y'all. Okay, so Akoye, I want to stay real quick. Something you said that was really good point about Dak early on versus Dak now. I
Mhm.
think people forget just the level of incompetency. So I'm gonna give myself flowers. Anybody who's been with me, I've never been a Kellen Moore fan. I remember
No,
the
you haven't.
3,000-yard receivers. I remember it. But
Mhm.
I always said I just don't know if he has realistic answers when you get to a good defense,
Good.
right? And then
Right.
I remember Scott Linehan, who, he's not in the NFL anymore for a reason. And then I
Mhm.
remember Jason Garrett. So he's went through 3 offensive coordinators.
Right.
He's never had a coordinator and a quarterback guru the level of Mike McCarthy.
Not even
It
close.
always not even close. It always disappointed me the amount of credit that McCarthy didn't get for his development of Aaron Rodgers. You talking about Aaron Rodgers who came in the ball throwing the ball? I mean, the NFL throwing the ball like this. You talking about Aaron Rodgers who at Cal was skipped. I mean, he fell in the draft for a reason,
Right.
right? And it took Mike McCarthy sitting him and developing him. And so now Mike said, "Hey, you know what, Kellen? I love you, but I want to. If I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna go out on my own
On my own
call." And he
sword.
called his shot. Yeah, he on his own sword. He called his shot.
Mhm.
And now you speed things up. Kellen has quote unquote who was supposed to be a better quarterback in Justin Herbert, and the offense doesn't look better. He doesn't have answers, and this is why because Kellen Moore is smart. I say this about like really smart people because I do think that Kellen Moore is really smart. He
Mhm.
can't get out his own way.
Mm.
I think that he's not smart enough to say, let me just make it simple as possible. Let me just press easy buttons. And I think
Right.
Mike and we're not even talking about the Cowboys offense, but now we've come to a point where if they're gonna do this, we're just gonna spam Cooks on overs. He's got to that point. If
Right.
they're gonna do this, then we're gonna. Hey, if you guys are gonna use resources, then we're just gonna release Ferguson up the seam. We're gonna do
Mhm.
these little things,
There's
nothing
counters.
major,
Yeah, there's a bunch of counters in this offense now.
nothing
Bunch
major.
of
But I want to
yeah.
go back to a point that you said about Hurts. Now, let me ask in the chat box this: Okoye, do you remember that having this many designed QB runs? Because I can't remember. I don't think he had this many designed QB runs.
No. No, not at
And
all.
I think, and the reason why I say it is because at a point
Mhm.
we saw a Cam Newton who, they've now compared the touchdown deal, right? But we saw Cam Newton's body it just wore down.
And that's the thing that happens to all athletic quarterbacks. That's why I say their learning curve is 4 to 6 years, somewhere in there. Because even when you look at guys like Big Ben, who aren't the fastest, or a guy like Josh Allen, who I think they compare very well, one injury, one back injury, one leg injury, they slow down and then they have no choice but to learn how to read the blitz and how to look guys off and how to slide protections and all those things. They have to learn those things because once they start to get injured or they get money and get injured or whichever comes first. When you start playing with the house's money, the house don't want you running and lowering your shoulder, and that was probably one of the impediments between Dak and his money was, hey, not only did you get injured, so you're not going to get as much as you wanted, but also we want to see that you can do something other than be a fullback that can throw. Can you do that? And that's not a knock on Dak. That's a knock on every athletic quarterback. You have to ask the question, are you an athlete that can throw? Are you a quarterback that happens to be an athlete? And those balances, they seem the same, but they're worlds apart. And I think that happens to all quarterbacks that I've ever seen that are fast, that can run. RG3 was like a tragic version of that same look.
Yeah,
But you even saw
yeah,
Michael Vick. Michael Vick in the preseason, I think the Ravens had broke his ankle one time, right? Because he had to learn. And when Michael Vick sat down for a second, I like old Michael Vick a lot more than I like young Michael Vick, because old Michael Vick would rip you apart with his arm and could
yeah,
run a little bit. You know what I mean? But he wasn't looking to run, and that's the difference. And I think all athletic quarterbacks take about 3 years to get that out of their system, whether it be due to injury or the fact that that contract starts knocking after that rookie deal, and they have to prove that they can do something other than run. Otherwise, they don't get that kind of money. You get what I'm saying? So I think that's
yeah,
happening to Hurts. Hurts got
yeah,
his early, so they're trying to force him to be a little bit longer or further along that curve than he actually is, and that's why you see a lot. You see less runs than you did last year, but you still see a lot of running. But his runs now, you see less designed and more improvised runs. When
yeah,
on third and long, he says, "Hey, if I'm gonna take two looks at one side of the field, first, second read, then I'm out." You know what I mean? And
yeah,
that's what he likes to
yeah,
do. And that's why he ran into probably like 3 sacks, I think,
yeah.
against San Fran. They didn't even bother pass rushing him. They just collapsed the pocket slowly and, were able to corral him due to that fact. He's going to run right into you. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
think, yeah, go ahead.
No, no, no. We man, that's the point right there. I saw a lot of drop 8. I saw a lot of
Hmm.
drop 7.
Yep.
And Akoye, I'll let you get to the film. One thing that I think young quarterbacks don't understand, I even talked to my quarterback that I coach, is
Hmm.
like, hey, stepping up in the pocket
Hmm.
versus Hurst is doing a lot of drifting. He's doing like a lot of running around.
Yeah.
But like that changes the coverage angles. And I
Yes.
don't know if a lot of young quarterbacks understand that just because why? You're so athletic and mixed with what they're doing route conceptually. If Hurts just stepped up in the pocket, but he's
Right.
drifting, he comes off his first read, and then it's like eyes drop. And
Right.
it's like against a good defense, against a good DC,
That won't
they're
work.
gonna see that. Yeah, it's just not gonna work. So Okoye,
Hmm.
you have some plays pulled up. I know one of the plays that I highlighted on Twitter
Hmm.
was a play that I've just seen them spam against the Bills. I've
Hmm.
seen them spam when they get in trouble. And
Hmm.
this is what I said about the design runs, where what they do is they go 5 wide or they'll go 4 wide with maybe like a nub H back, or they'll
Hmm.
have him in a Ricky sidecar, and then they'll just push either the running back, and they're pushing motion him just to see if you're a man or you're in a zone. If you don't
Yep.
move, you're in a zone. If you move, you're a man. That's normally where the hot call is going to come from Kelsey or Hurts. It's either going to be that trap,
Hmm.
and Hurts is going to just design run it, or he's going to give it. What San Fran did, they didn't even honor it because they know you're not going to throw anything off of it. If you do, we'll rally. And one
Hmm.
play that I saw was Greenlaw just came and absolutely smoked Kelsey. He
Hmm.
just took Kelsey out of the play.
Hmm.
Most times people are trying to play that block and play around with it and read the play. He just smoked Kelsey.
Hmm.
And in doing that, it forced, I think that was Gainwell. It just forced him to it was like a 2-yard gain. And it was like you could see right then and there that Fred Warner was like, I got you. He did
Yep.
something like this. Like when Fred started doing this, he on you. It's almost
Yeah,
like you
he
playing
got it.
Luke Kuechly. He like that game plan not gonna work. It's kind of like what they were able to do Dallas. That game plan just not gonna work. So
Right.
Okoye, I want to get your film, and y'all in for a treat. I got you loaded up, Okoye. What are some of the things that you saw, and kind of take us through what you saw on film?
Well, perfect call there when you said
Thank
like,
you for everybody in the likes. I'm
oh
sorry,
yeah, for
Okoye. Thank you
sure,
for
for
all the
sure.
comments. Over 200 likes. Keep sending this around because this is one of those ones, man.
Like what you see, like if he does get it out within the 2.3, like you see here, it's on a slant route. You just called it with their motion. They do pretty simple pre-snap reads. Obviously motion just to see if it's man. They'll try to get yards after the catch. A lot like what San Fran was doing to them too. But
Mm-hmm.
anything in the middle of the field, they had a hard time attacking the middle of the field unless they were in five wide and they moved all the linebackers out of there due to the fact that they might have caught them in man coverage. Other than that, they couldn't really attack the middle of the field. In the run game, because they don't have a power run game, they couldn't really lean on San Fran the way they wanted to. We already saw them, so we understood how we're going to attack them as well. Except for I think the difference and the wrinkle between them and what we're doing is San Fran challenged them a little bit more with some press man in situations rather than playing off coverage, trying to keep everything in front of them. They trusted the fact that Travaris Ward said, "Hey, I want to pause right here too before we go because I
Yeah,
want
go.
to
Yeah, stay right
emphasize
there.
this
Yep,
look."
yep, yep,
But they
yep,
trusted
yep,
the
yep.
fact that they said, "Hey, Travaris Ward can cover him one on one." Is actually a perfect segue. That's why I want everybody to remember this look, not necessarily the formation because this is a bunch 3-by-1 set with the running back to the X receiver side, right? They
Right.
do this to ISO your corner on that side of the field. So when you see
Yep.
this look, you know that they're running a fade route usually. This is a thing that they love to do. They did this to Washington a lot. That play against Washington where he caught that one-handed pass, I think against Forbes. It might have been against Fuller, I don't know. But against Forbes, I think. That route was this play right here. They run this all the time. So when you see a 3-by-1 set, know that you're getting a fade route top side to AJ Brown. They did this probably 3 times in this game. They just changed the formation a little bit. So it looks they changed the window dressing. But when you see it running back to the X receiver side, he's only there to hold that linebacker that's underneath shallow. He's there to
Mm-hmm.
hold him
Mm-hmm.
shallow. And on the far side of the field, they're going to take whether it's Goddard, well, Goddard's not playing, but their tight end, Julio Jones or Smith, they're going to run him at your single high safety and try to cross his face or challenge him to
Mess with his
pause him.
eyes.
They need to
Yeah.
pause him so that he can't get over the top of this route. So this is a beautiful ISO route that they run, and they challenge your corners with that. So Bland is going to see this. Gilly's going to see it as well. I actually hope that Gilly ends up on AJ this game more so. And the reason I say that is because I just think that Bland, just like Diggs, matches up a lot better against route runners than he does against the bigger guys. And I
Yeah.
think Gilly only matches up great against the bigger guys. So Bland can do both. Gilly can do one exceptionally well, and I think that he's great when it comes to stopping those bigger receivers. But here's that look, and here's that shot that they're going to take right here to the corner of the field. But whenever I saw this formation out of 4 games, every time I saw it, they took it. So you got to play back shoulder, you got to play up shoulder, but be looking for that back shoulder fade right there. Travaris Ward did a great job this entire game covering that. He did it successfully, I think, 2 or 3 times, and that's what I mean by them playing deep to short. When they don't get those big looks like that and they can't make things happen deep, then this is all he does. It's like watching Sandlot football. I don't even have to call these out. Here's that 5 wide look that you were talking about, where they're
Mm-hmm.
just trying to see if you're in man or zone. And once he sees
Mm-hmm.
that, they're either running some sort of reverse action, running a slant across his face as quick as possible, or he's taking off. And there goes the slant, just like I just said. And I haven't even cut these up. So I don't even
Yeah.
know each play as it stands. I just know what they like to run in the formations that they're in, and you're going to get that. That's how predictable they've
The
become.
offense is.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. They're when they 5 wide, they want to open up the middle of the field so that he can throw into that triangle that Dak used to like to throw into. And the triangle is from tackle to tackle and deep middle. That's where that's the easiest read a quarterback can make. And there goes the reverse. I didn't even know that was in there. There was the reverse that I was just asked that I just told you about. No, let me go
Yeah.
back to this play.
Yeah.
Here's the reverse here, right? They'll widen you out. This isn't
Push
five
him.
wide, it's four
Yeah.
wide. Yeah, boom. That's a
Push
yo-yo
him.
motion.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. But watch how
Bring him back.
Greenlaw was killing these all day. It was
He
effective.
was
Maybe
and
we
he
need
was
our we
flying
need our head
around.
of security to go punch Greenlaw when we play him too. Maybe we can get him out the game the way they did because Greenlaw was a thorn in their ass until that point in the game. But as you can see here, like I said, they challenge you guys in the middle of the field. They're not as effective throwing to the numbers or throwing outside the hashes. And in the middle of the field, if you see him, look, this is sandlot football. This is not how they call this play. You get what I'm saying? So he'll
Yeah.
stand back there because he doesn't get a traditional pass rush, and the Eagles are allowed to hold. I hate to say it, they're allowed to
Yeah.
hold
This is
a
definitely
lot.
holding on the top on Lane Johnson right there. Hold
Yeah,
right there. Boom.
look, that's a hold. They're allowed
Yeah.
to
That's a
hold
hold.
more than any other team I've ever seen. His hands outside the numbers, outside the shirt every time, and he's standing back there directing traffic. And any quarterback can direct traffic when you have this much time. He slips on this one, but this is what they do. They're not getting a traditional pass rush because you want to contain him anyway. And then when he's back there, you have to cover that first route and you have to be on your scramble drill like nobody's business because they allow him a lot of time back there due to the fact that they very rarely call holding against these guys. And I watched holding quite a bit. This would have been a long game had they called holding as much as they actually did it. Look at the time he has back there. That is not how the
Yeah.
play is designed, and he'll run right
No.
into a sack, as I said before, because once he can't see, once that first read and second read isn't there, he's pretty much looking to take off. And if he doesn't have a
Yep.
running lane, he'll run right into you just like that.
Yeah.
Like,
And that looked like it was one of those drop seven routes. Can you pause that real quick, Koya?
yep.
So I just want to catch everybody up. One thing that I caught, okay, Philly was able to move early on in the game
Mm-hmm.
from 20 to 20.
Mm-hmm.
They were able to get to the red zone, but they
Right.
did not come away with points.
Right.
Okay. What San Fran did, and I think that was a really good game plan, was they gave them a lot of that stuff, like Corey saying, we're going to give you stuff underneath. We're
Yeah.
going to run to the football.
Yeah.
We'll give you these things. We're not going to get beat over the top, and then we're going to condense everything. And
Right.
they have two linebackers that can run, and so they were able to kind of do that. One thing that I noticed, too, was this, Akoye.
Mm-hmm.
And, Philly was not able to run the ball here, okay? Now, the passing yards are great, right? But the rushing yards, 46 rushing yards, Hurts had 20. They
Mhm.
don't want to play like that.
No.
Like, and the fact that they have been, that's kind of alarming to me. Now, one thing that I've noticed watching this team, and it was one that I kind of tried to warn Eagles fans because again, we've seen this, right?
Roman. Reverse. I'm sorry about that.
Oh no,
Reverse.
you could do your thing.
Other way.
I told them like there has been times when
There
the
we go.
Cowboys have been playing good football, but I said, this looks stale, or
Keep doing
this
what you was doing,
offense
but double
looks
it up.
stale. And then next thing you
Good.
know, sure enough, you see a good defense, or you see a team that has a beat on you. Like being honest with you, I knew this offense was good by the way we played and attacked Seattle secondary.
Right.
And Mike had answers all game and all night,
Mhm.
game and all night. Because guess what? Seattle secondary is good, and they were doing some nice things on the back end. Those
Can I
guys can
show
play.
you a
So
throw? I want to show one throw real quick,
yeah,
and I want to see if I got it in here. I hope that I have it somewhere where I can share it because
pull it
this
up.
throw, this is one of my favorite throws from Dak Prescott
Let me see
this
if I
week.
can.
Let me see if I got it.
But I just why you find that, Akoye? Like to
Sure.
me, I think that you get to a point in the season, like, and it's crazy because it happened in reverse for Dallas. We kind of started kind of sluggish.
You can
And
put
now
that
we've
one
hit
in
a
here.
stride. Okay. And
Just
now
because you're
we've hit a
talking about this.
stride.
Let me put this on mute. Boom.
Okay,
There we
cool.
go. Yeah.
Mhm.
So these were all design plays. Like this play, I'm just let it run just because, but we'll get to the play that I'm talking about. But you see at the bottom of the screen, Gallup's is going to run a little rub route on this arrow. And these were the types of looks and the type of space that McCarthy was creating. But the reason I said that Dak and McCarthy were like a match made in heavens because right now you can't see Diggs, the safety, but Dak's looking to the left to move him, and he's moving him 3 steps. Like he's holding him in the middle of the field right now so that he can't get over this play, right? And then when he looks back, you see those are the steps. So he made him take 3 false steps just to give CD space for this slant. So that's the scheme and Dak working together. It's not just the scheme because without Dak doing that, Diggs can drive on that, and he probably still catches this, but he doesn't get to the red zone or get an opportunity.
His eyes took him. Dak's eyes took Diggs there. Yeah.
100%. And on this one here, this is what was initially called by Seattle, which is a good matchup. You have Wagner that's on Ferguson. Then you have Weatherspoon on the slot, and whoever Brown is, I think Brown is on Michael Gallup right now. All they're going to do pre-snap is widen out Ferguson. They're going to flex him out wide, and when they do that, the switch happens. Right, as soon as they do that, you can see the space that they're creating. Now, Dak knows exactly what's going on as soon as they do this. He knows right now I got Cooks on Wagner. He's looking left just to see what's happening there to either hold that linebacker, but the linebacker's blitzing. So he's like, I know I got the space now. He knows exactly what's happening on this play. It's Cooks versus Wagner, and that's a foot race. Easy Very easy read. That's the scheme right there. That's Mike
Yeah.
McCarthy scheming this type of stuff open. Here,
High
you got
low,
a
baby.
you got a high low. So they're gonna high low Wagner on this one, right? And the reason this low works is because what worked on film against Seattle was you do a chip and release with a tight end. They're gonna roll up under everything on the seam and then crash down on everything in the flats late. So they know that Seattle likes to do that. So they're gonna give you that look. They're gonna allow Wagner to roll under Cooks right now. So Wagner's in good position right now, right? So,
Right.
but now that you see that chip release by Schoonmaker underneath, Wagner has to drive on that. And that split second right there opens up the middle of the field for Cooks, right? Now that's what
Right.
the scheme did, right? On the other side of the field, in the middle of the field, you see that safety right there? This is an interception with Dak in any other scheme because without them working together, this play does not happen. It's not even close to successful because look how close he is to getting this interception, even with Dak doing what he did. So Dak is going to move Diggs to the middle of the field. He's going to force. He's going to force. He was doing this to Diggs all day and to Adams. He was just killing these guys. He's forcing those false steps with his footwork. So look at Dak's
That's
footwork.
good stuff. Yeah.
Look at Dak's footwork and his eyes at the same
Mm-hmm.
time. Watch this. 1, 2, 3. Both of them together.
Got
They
him.
were in unison. Both of them. And now you have the problem of Diggs is fast, so he could get under this. And
Diggs is a good player, man.
if Dak puts this where it should be, well, in most people's eyes, in front of Cooks, this is still a pass breakup or an interception. He knows that Diggs is driving on this ball, and Cooks knows too. But he's going to put this ball on Cooks's back shoulder. He's going to back shoulder this so that Diggs does not have an opportunity to get underneath that. You see that?
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite throws from this entire game for Dak because that shows like for everybody said like Mike McCarthy's doing a great job with the scheme. I showed you what the scheme did to get Cooks open in the first place, but what Dak's doing on the opposite side is amazing to me. Like that to me was like why I say Dak is playing at a level that most quarterbacks just ain't with. And I ain't talking about the athletic plays like he just made right there breaking a tackle. You know, I mean, you could go ahead and take that off. That's the play I wanted to show. But I'm not talking about him breaking tackles and doing things athletically that we see some of these quarterbacks do that we give credit to, like a Josh Allen. I got an arm so I can outthrow the coverage no matter what coverage you're in. Or I'm crazy like Hurts and I'm going to throw it in the double coverage. And I got an A.J. Brown who's going to catch it on
Who
the
could
double
bail you
team.
out? Yeah.
Those are not quarterback attributes that you're saying, hey, that quarterback he's doing his job, looking guys off or getting guys open or throwing guys open. That's not that. That's just my arm talent beating your good coverage. Just like when Bland got beat by Devontae Smith in the first game, that was just arm talent. He put the ball where Bland had no chance to get it. It was great coverage, but Bland had no chance to get it. That's things that you want to see a quarterback doing, and those are great. But when you see a guy that can sort of navigate traffic and move traffic in the middle of the field with his eyes and his footwork and make you pay for it every time, it's not a fluke, or do a little shoulder shimmies where he's getting guys open that shouldn't be open and make you pay for it every time. That's when you know he's in command of the offense and he knows exactly what's going on out there. He knew Diggs is going to be the guy to beat on that play, and I got to move Diggs 3 steps out of the way. Or if Diggs doesn't move those 3 steps, that's an interception. You know what I'm
That's an
saying?
interception. Yeah,
Interception.
and Dax marrying, and that's what they talked about all off season about him, marrying his drops with the route combinations
Beautiful, man.
and Dak, and he has full control, and he has full control when the box is light, when
Beautiful.
it's heavy. He's really, but man, can we just give a fire emoji for Akoye? Just,
Thank
you
you.
don't get this anywhere else, man. Chat box, please. Thank you. And
Appreciate that.
so, Akoye, staying here, I think you've done a
Right.
good job of kind of locking in on Philly's tendencies, and
Yep.
I think we kind of know one tendency. Another one that I've seen in games is when they get in trouble, it looks like they're going outside zone to Swift. And Swift, if you don't tackle him right away, he's a good player. And I will give him that. He's a really good player,
Right.
DeAndre Swift. So that was
Yeah.
one of the things that I caught on with them. Like you kind of know that's coming. They'll
Right.
put him in that side card and they just go outside zone, and it really gives what's his name that 2-way go. It
Right.
gives Swift and Hurts that 2-way go to keep. Now, Akoye, with that
Right.
said, we got to get to the hard talk.
Mm.
All right, so film gone. I'm
Mhm.
going to take this off the screen.
Go ahead.
Akoye Media,
Mhm.
how do we stop these guys? Because at the end of the day, I'm realistic, and I'm not. I think we should have beat them the first game.
Right.
But I also will say that the Dallas Cowboys defense, as of late, hasn't been playing Dallas Cowboys defense. Now, I have my reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Dan Quinn is a good DC. I think there has been some burnout, and I think game plan wise, there's been a little bit of copy and paste, and that
That was
got
due to
us in trouble
the
versus
short weeks
the
we just
short week.
had. Yeah, I think when you have time to
So
prepare for a team that you really know, I think you'll see a better look at
game plan,
from.
right?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm not saying this because I'm a Cowboy fan. I wouldn't be surprised though if our defense looks a lot more aggressive and we actually have a counter to them. Because the thing that hasn't changed all season is the Eagles' offense. They've been the same all year.
That's fair.
So if they come out with the same approach that they came out with in every game they've come out in this season, which is read deep to short, make your first read, take off and run, and then short outlet passes and a bunch of isolation plays, one route combination plays. That's what they do. So if it's going to be something quick, it's designed quick. It's a tunnel screen. It's a back end screen, a sprint out. A sprint out left with a screen off the backside of that with some jet motion screen stuff like they do that all day, right? Split screens, things like that. So you got to be able to cover those things when you see them, but for the most part, you're covering deep to short, right? Now, if they come out with that, I think that Dan will have a better answer for it due to the fact that we have that mini bye week and more time to prepare. Well, at least I hope he does, because the thing that troubled me was the fact that you see Micah Parsons' effect when we begged for him to play in the middle of the field, and he did that against he did good work, man. I see you Thursday. All right, tell your mama say what's up. All right. Oh, that was one of my fighters. Leave. But basically, what was I saying? Oh, well, you saw what effect he had against Bryce Young. All that was Bryce Young, but you saw what Micah Parsons was able to do in the spark that he had in the middle of the field in that Carolina game, and then immediately in the Redskins game and in the Seattle game, you saw a lot of Micah on the edge again, and it's like, damn, you're getting in your own way, and I don't understand why he's doing that. But he gets in his own way when he stubbornly puts Micah on the edge primarily. And I think that the defense with Micah on the edge is a good defense, as we saw. I think those defenses that we're talking about, they're good defense. But when Micah in the middle of the field, when you don't know what he's doing, you there, Foots? I think your screen's going, bro. You there? Are you frozen? Can you hear me? Foots, I can't hear you. Nope. Can't hear you. Nope. Can't hear you. Is it me? I can't hear you. Hold on. Can y'all hear Foots? Thumbs up if y'all can hear Foots. Can y'all hear Foots? Foots. No, they can't hear you, Foots. Can't hear you.